Hello, 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 hello. Kunzu dene mena, da dena. Namsun di kale shulong na.
Okay, so if we are ready to go, then it would, if we can recite the three principal paths without, hurrying. Take our time reciting that.
Steve, may I say something, please? Before?
Yeah, okay,
Oh,
okay.
sure. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, go ahead.
Hello. Welcome to everybody. On behalf of Lunto Chokorli Monastery, I want to welcome all of you and take the opportunity to thank Khen Rinpoche, our abbot, appointed to the kindness of Lama Rinpoche, and for agreeing to give us the translator, Venerable Steve, Venerable Siliana, without whom many of us were not able to follow this teaching. And also we should not forget the staff of our Sangha organization. So about this teaching and of our Sutra, if we are not able to complete today, and then as some of you know, Khen Rinpoche accept to give teaching ready on April 6th and 7th. So eventually we continue on this occasion. And then if the teaching will be complete, Rinpoche will teach a text that is honest, the Dalai Lama suggested us last year, which is the aim of the experience, which is from Lama Tsongkhapa. So I will be very short. So anyway, we hope that very soon we are able to provide a date starting the build the monastery here. And so we thank all of you for your support, which is very important. Okay, thank you so much. And then thank you, Rinpoche, again. Bye. Grazie a tutti.
The three principal aspects of the path. I bow down to my perfect gurus. The essential meaning of the victorious one's teachings, the path praised by the holy victors and their children, the gateway of the fortunate ones desiring liberation. This I try to explain as much as I can. Those who are not attached to the pleasures of surfing, who strive to make freedom and endowments meaningful, who entrust themselves to the path pleasing the victorious one, you fortunate ones, listen to the calm mind. Without complete intention definitely to be free from surfing, there is no way to pacify attachment seeking pleasurable effects in the ocean of surfing. Also, by craving for cyclic existence, embodied beings are continuously bound. Therefore, at the very beginning, seek renunciation. Freedom and endowments are difficult to find, and life has no time to spare. By gaining familiarity with this, attraction to the appearances of this life is reversed. By thinking over and over again that actions and their effects are betraying, and repeatedly contemplating the miseries of cyclic existence, attraction to the appearances of future lives is reversed. When, by having trained in that way, there is no arising even for a second of attraction to the perfections of cyclic existence, and all day and night the intention-seeking liberation arises, then the thought of renunciation has been generated. Even if renunciation has been developed, if it is not possessed by the mind of enlightenment, it does not become the cause of the perfect bliss of unsurpassed enlightenment. Therefore, the wise generate the supreme mind of enlightenment. Swept away by the current of the four powerful rivers, tied by the tight bonds of karma so hard to undo, caught in the iron net of self-grasping, completely enveloped by the total darkness of ignorance. Endlessly reborn in cyclic existence, ceaselessly tormented by the three sufferings, thinking that all mothers are in such a condition, generate the supreme mind of enlightenment. In short, if like the mother whose cherished son has fallen into a pit of fire, and whose experiences even 1 second of his suffering as an unbearable eternity, your reflection on the suffering of all other sentient beings has made it impossible for you to bear their suffering even for 1 second. and the wish seeking enlightenment for their sake arises without effort, then you have realized the supreme precious mind of enlightenment. Without the wisdom realizing ultimate reality, even though you have generated renunciations in the mind of enlightenment, you cannot cut the root cause of circling. Therefore, attempt the method to realize dependent variety. One who sees the cause and effect of all phenomena of both psychic existence and the state beyond sorrow as forever unbetraying, and for whom any object trusted in by the grasping mind has completely disappeared, has at that time entered the path pleasing to the Buddhas. If the appearance of dependent relations, which is unbetraying, is accepted separately from emptiness, and as long as they are seen as separate, then one has still not realized the Buddha's intent. If these two realizations are happening simultaneously without alternation, and from merely seeing dependent relations as completely unbetraying, the definite ascertainment comes that completely destroys the way all objects are apprehended as truly existent. At that time, the analysis of the ultimate view is complete. Furthermore, appearance eliminates the extreme of existence, and emptiness eliminates the extreme of non-existence. If you realize how emptiness manifests in the manner of cause and effect, then you are not captivated by wrong notions holding extreme views. In this way, you realize exactly the vital points of the three principal aspects of the path. Resort to seeking solitude, generate the power of effort, and quickly accomplish your final goal, my child.
Sangye, Chodong, Shuje, Shonam, La, Chancho, Sangye, Chodong, Oh yeah, that re tang zu da jam ru sim ge den sa re cha dang da ngo la jap su zhuo. Tini da ani sim je tam je gi che du an san je ko to bar cha wo da sim je tam je la pen ba de be shi do san je ko to bar cha wo je shi da chang ju gi sim ge o ta tin de gi to ne da jam ru sim ge gi sim be to ne da chu yin shi chi gua ya de su ge ya re a de.
In this way, we have recited the Refugium Bodhicitta prayer. So that means having the attitude of going for refuge, and then the bodhicitta means thinking that I'm going to receive these teachings, listen to these teachings with the motivation. In other words, for the purpose of achieving enlightenment, for the sake of all sentient beings, in order to help all sentient beings.
Kanda sibe de la macha parsta. Rwa. Kanda sibe de la macha pars. Otindech. Da chunye de la sibe de la macha pars. Ani taljurte chajur zombai. Da taljur tobadi. Ani onechi tanda demba chegi chidu ani zomba chinge. 존중 중에 아니 야와 제베 람라 이든 바스다 수지자와 세던 제바 투자를 체도 원에 직다 뒤탄다 두배 이더바 갈덴스 딘데 까와던데 강사기 당외 이기면서 내야 원에 직 가신 조시 당외 이기 뉴스다 남선 골라도 봐 어디래
And so now, furthermore, at the beginning of the three principal aspects of the path that we also recited in the second verse. So it talks about, it says, those who are not attached to the pleasures of circling. In other words, listen to these teachings without attachment to the worldly pleasures. And then who strive to make freedom and endowments meaningful. So for us then, listening to the teaching, this means knowing that we have achieved this precious human rebirth, these leisures and endowments, being determined not to waste this opportunity, but to use it well and to practice with a joyous effort. And then who entrust themselves to the path pleasing the victorious ones. So we're going to listen to these teachings in order to please all of the Buddhas. So this is our kind of motivation. No.
어다 지당다 야와 제베 람스니다 돈다니 다 야와 초지자와 세다 제바 제버 다투 제버체 투 녀기다 람디 카르스나 다 먼저 던다 돈이 또베 로스 돈이 또베 셔라 어디 차기야래 초지자와 세다 제바 투 녀버체 다 약쇼디 다 랑기 줄라 다 다음에 또베 셔라 다 람시시 뭐 어딘데 이게 또 봐이나 안 자와 집에 남 세시 숨겨야 돼. 다 주주자와 서도 잡아다 또 계셔셔야 돼. 어디 숨겨야 돼?
And when it speaks of the path pleasing the victorious ones, the path that pleases the Buddhas. So what is that path? Well, the path that pleases the Buddhas the most is the realization of emptiness. In other words, what's going to please, what we can do that will please all the Buddhas the best, in the best way, is actually generating the path perfection of wisdom in our continuum.
다티아다 산제 투게기 군세 카레레 신티 그나 돈이 더블로 줄라잖아 산제 가진 독시우 개개를 세세한 좋아실리기로
The question might come to mind, well, why would they be so pleased with us, having that wisdom?
제가 가서 시원하시 다 산제기 최수에기 고바 닝보디 시원 양대 토베시도 심제기 동아 내가 그 동아 말에 땐도 다 동아 싸워내 매봤어요 땐도 대화 타르바 토베시도 산제기 최수고야 닝보디 봐. 다 딘데 숭제 뭐는지 강사라니기 다 깔래 잡지 다 담에도 베셔르지 잡아이나 다 그게 산제기 싸바 타니 보슈 차지 그러다 말 탈배 고방하다 땐도 되게 탈바토야 타니 보슈 차지 그러봐 다 거기 싸워라다 봐 고제 잡투에게 단 노바지 레도가나 아니 뭐네지 조지저 쓰는 잡아서 두냐에디 들어봐.
Well, the reason is that actually, as we mentioned before, the reason that the Buddha taught was in order that the sentient beings would be able to achieve liberation, which means a state free of suffering, not just for a short while, but free forever from suffering. And so, since that's the purpose of the Buddha teaching, that's the purpose of the Buddha's teaching, then from our side as individuals, if we make the effort, put the effort that's required to get that realization, the realization of emptiness, then by getting that realization of emptiness, we become closer to liberation. And therefore, this is why it would be so pleasing to the Buddhas.
또 동학이 싸워라 다치 거기 갑자기 짜야지 고추고요.
Oh,
동학이 싸웠다 당시 말이 봐셔라. 딜라다 동원이 또 로지게 누가 곧 누가 총을 따시. 근데 차에도 가라 당원에 지 거기 타바 세리 타벨라 니지 톱 누바 딱 톱로인 봐톱 누바 근데라 과차자니 좀 받대야지 망게 용거로 봐 존중 망게 계시 용거로 봐 근데 충분하나 나 야와 투게 되더라
kandas te tsundu kola kandas.
존중 망게 지기로 봐 존중 망게 그러봐 타바 톱로인 봐 타바 좀 봐인 봐 근데 내가 통일 거로 봐 그래서는 당시라 갑자기 자기 직통부여로 봐 대치도 다 두개 다 존중 망게 주바신 거로 봐 가신 뜻이 달리게 하신 거로 봐 어떻게 타바타
And this is because when we realize emptiness, then that makes the root cause of cyclic existence, which is self-grasping, it makes it much weaker. It weakens it. And by weakening it through that realization, we see how we have the ability to achieve liberation. We see that we can achieve liberation, that this is something that we can do. And then because of that realization, then naturally we have this ability to apply ourselves with a joyous effort. So the joyous effort comes up really quite naturally in us.
어떻게 알아 어떻게 들으셔 어떻게다 아니 당연히 이기는 어떤데 이제 다 진짜 내가 시시 원에 다确认的讲了可能多拿有他的年关系送给的就是不行是吧甚至我们可能多拿有不行是吧真的给他这年关系送的话当然已经说的
And then he finishes off that verse by saying, "You fortunate ones, listen with a calm mind, a mind of faith." Chezande inji din nanada damala calm lagi do. Ngoni chene debarwa. Debeke jamare.
당화스도 대발이다. 이나 clear mind. clear 스나 당화스는 clear라. 감랑도 말이다. 저 이나 대바. 이나 심스부 인데 더는 연구에 숨겨요.
So it says, listen with a calm mind. What it really means is listen with a clear mind, the clear mind of faith, the kind of faith that's going to arise in your mind when you've thought about those, thought about what I've just been saying about, like the realization of emptiness and what pleases the Buddhas.
진짜 시리샤 당은 저 담망보 쉬나니 다 다른 차와시나 삼바를 신다 바디 야 개보시나 쉬고로 봐. 다다간다 다 시라님부터 카레메다 또 두시마다 범잡체 쉬나 삼송 어떤 차야로시 봐. 야다 개보점나 쉬고 내가 갑가라야 쉬고 나도 딱 봐면 돼야 나와 잡차도 가라야 갑자기 딱 봐면 돼. 제시 다른 동작제다 차에기다. 그러 무슨 식인서 어때 당가던 제가 샤트가 다 주지는 제가 봐.
What I'm planning to do is to finish off the explanation of the Heart Sutra today, by the time that we've got allocated, which means anyway, within the 1.5 hours that we've allocated. So because but by giving you the real, like, the main points about the Heart Sutra, because of course, if we were to really take our time with this and go into it in depth, then it would take many more sessions, and then because we can't do this all the time, then it's like somehow it just doesn't quite work out to make this to take place over a protracted period. So I thought it would be better to really make a point of finishing today.
그래, 다 이게 다 토바 투식나 세나 시래 다 투식라 다 퇴셔니 좋아하시.
Just like it says in the Heart Sutra. Was it thus did I hear at one time? So we're gonna have to finish this in one session, one time.
그래, 다 가장한 저 시라님 보들라 돈다니 다 고네마다 고주인도가라 다 링시 세신 거래 링시티 투모메 바니 링시 어디데니 유네시 로바다 디시도가라 투모에 링시딜라 다 되푸순 줘봐 아니 가르서라다 좀 푸순 줘봐 아니 네 푸순 줘봐 고 푸순 줘봐 신호다 편서 시대에서 어딘데시 숨고도
As I mentioned, once we start getting into the sutra itself, then you have first of all the preamble, and for that there's the general preamble, and then there's the preamble which is unique to the Heart Sutra. For the general preamble, there are 4 things to think about. There's the excellent time, excellent teacher, excellent place, and the excellent entourage.
독신에 가서 다시라니 뭐 고란다 남기다 동교에서 대카도디 되다 투모의 링시에 가르치는 되게 다 더바 투시나 좀 전에 야복강 작업 분보들라 결론게 이제 첨부도 전설심에 이제 첨부나 탑주도 쇼대 스타티버도 다 투모의 링시에 샤시 봐.
In fact, the general preamble is right there in the Heart Sutra itself at the beginning there in those first few lines where it says, "Thus did I hear at one time the Bhagavan was dwelling on Master Vulture's mountain in Rajagriha, together with a great community of monks and a great community of bodhisattvas."
독신에 다 간다 다 변하다디 갈소래. 까등에디 다 시신게 까단다 까 두버 칭에디 단다다 가시기다 창나두지 인세다 가시기양 단다 공가오 인신이 개별 순수 담에 되는 것도 봐. 다 가서 시바나 신에 알아봤다.
As I mentioned yesterday, also, where it says, "Thus did I hear at one time." So this is talking about the one who compiled the teaching, and so there are different assertions about this from different great masters. Some say that it must have been Vajrapani, and others say no, it was Ananda.
어떻게 다 디네마 다 투모마이 벨링시 세디 다 디웍들라 팅거래 대세 좀 된데 서만나와 시절 저기 남자의 등은들 냠버 숙소 배신 디멘도 등은들 냠버 세디 배신 팅거래 투모마이 벨링시도 와
No.
그만은 이시 티슈데 대세 좀 된데 서만나와 시절 저기 남자의 등은들 냠버 숙소 양대지 정서선 말씀에서 보고 싫은 넘버 보면은 시기 보면 넘버 따오 세디비세 나티보도 샤나 디게 있었다.
No. Then for the unique the preamble unique to the Heart Sutra, so there it says, "At that time the Bhagavan was absorbed in the concentration on the categories of phenomena called profound perception. Also at that time the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara looked upon the very practice of the profound perfection of wisdom and beheld those 5 aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. So that should be the unique preamble.
독신이 다 아니지 다 디네마 아니지 가스네 다 치와 다 돈다 좀데 땡이질라 냠버 샤크체 다 냠버 지단 좀데 땡이질 냠버 가되는 샤샤바르와 다 땡이질 당하게 냠샤를 당하게야 말해 냠샤기 항네 다 저도비 차와 치도에 누바인 거야 봐 이나 상에 좀데 서머나와 시절 땡이질 냠버 쇼베 출된치 다티 냠버 샤제 팅하네 다 시리포당 아니 제네스라 다 치와 칠린체디 다 칭게 라바레 숨고요 칭게 랍지
Now, it says here that when it says the Bhagavan was absorbed in the concentration on the categories of phenomena called profound perception, that means that he was meditating on emptiness. Actually, the Buddha is always meditating on emptiness, because one of the special qualities of an enlightened being is that they absorb into the experience of emptiness, the realization of emptiness, in the mode of never actually leaving that meditation. And so then within being absorbed into emptiness, they're able to act in the world. And so although it says he was absorbed in the concentration of absorbed into emptiness, what it means is showing the aspect of being in doing that meditation. And then we see the question and answer taking place between Shariputra and Avalokiteshvara, and those happen due to the blessing of the Buddha.
독신이 다 디네 가르쳐도 다 독신다 칭게라베데 틴자 다 텔라레 테네 산제기 투 차단다 뭐 셔리부 상주서마 선바정 포바시 공출라 디게즈면서 이렇게 보 강라로 셔라지 바로 선마셔봤다바데 시달라버 차신다 다던다 좀 된데기 칭게랍체 다다 테네스 칭게랍체 다 당부 셔리부 다 제레스라 치와치에들에
Through the blessing of the Buddha, Shariputra asks Avalokiteshvara a question, and the question in the text comes up like this. Then, through the power of Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra said this to the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara. How should any son of the lineage train who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom?
독신이 다던다 님보 치와데 티레 따라와 다 시진라 간데시 랍고 그랬다 셔르지 바로도 침발라 간데시 랍고 그랬어 로와 근데 로버진이 강사이나 아니 간데시 랍고 그랬습니다 시진 로버 간데시를 했으니까 다던다 산제기 셔리보라 칭게 랍체 아니 셔리부 치와디 다 제레스라 제 어때
The question that Shariputra is asking Avalokiteshvara through the blessing of the Buddha is, if somebody wants to train in the perfection of wisdom, how do they go about that? How do they do it?
독신 다티 렌딜라 디네 갈스나다 갈스라 아니 지다 라바차 디게제 메바 당세데 강라야 두고와 창조 선바 치모 포과셔서 온주의 차도는 셔리포도 디게제 메서 셔리포 리기 뭐 강라로 셔리 바로 좀 삼나 제바 쇼버 더바데 지다 넘버 따와 차데스 아니 봉방하고 대다장 라시기 또 만나봐 양다봐 따오스 따오체 속동바오 동만이 소소 술에 동만이래 장 수신 많이 노 대신도 좋았던 대신 넘버 7번 동바오스 다 디나마 다 레망부실레도 디나마 사단 레레 다 티파트디 다 솔람동 줄랑 내가 간지 놓고 그래 세지 숨고야래 넘버 7번 동바호 세
Tomba number 7
넘버
Tomba.
7번 동바호 딱 공부 말을 잘 숨도 막 받대
Solandan Jolandra.
어티 내가서 얼럭당디 받대 솔람동 줄랑 내가서 된데스 놓고 그래 숨고야래
Nice. So then, just keep saying so. Actually, then in the sutra where he said that, of course, that belongs to the question, and then the answer comes. Well, actually, the answer is, there's quite a lot included in the answer. So then, anyway, so how it starts is, and the Bodhisattva, Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara, said this to the Venerable Shariputra. Shariputra, any son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom should look upon it like this, correctly and repeatedly, beholding those 5 aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Form is empty, emptiness is form, emptiness is not other than form, form is also not other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, in the same way, feeling, discrimination, compositional factors, and consciousness are empty. So there's a lot more to the answer, but up to here is Avalokiteshvara is explaining how to train in the perfection of wisdom when you're on the path of accumulation and the path of preparation. And so within this this answer, we will see that he also explains how to train in emptiness when one is on the path of seeing, and then how to train in it when one is on the path of meditation. No.
Samo chichu shidang tenpa asini te sungu yore, da cholam jolo nekala samo chichu shidang sini lobechi. Tika sana su tongba wo, tongba ni su le tongba ni xe mayin, tongba ni su xe mayin no se ta. O tindegi tone, da cholam jolo nekala to sam re, to ba samba, bombe tone lobechi sungu yore.
Here, in this section, which I just said, is how to train on the path of accumulation and path of preparation. The main thing is where it says form is empty, emptiness is form, emptiness is not other than form, form is also not other than emptiness. So in here is contained what we call the 4 profound features, or the 4 profound attributes, if you like. No. So and so here he's explaining how on the path of accumulation and preparation to train through listening, reflecting, and meditating. No.
Penata tangbo de la sola jane sungu yare, ro sugi pungbo se de ta tanda. Re sugi pungbo la charche. Ani suk tongba ho se de pena sugi pungbo do chasha bayina. Karsore. Ta mata machebe shebe ta ngorna yete bachi. Mata machebe shebe ngorna nangzam yotzam shire. Ro. 제가 단단파 문에파 단돈 취업에파 10초 지내다 속세대 가래래도 속이 풍부세대 가래래도 쓴 10초 셔봐 넘버 7바이나 리페트 신전 침바이나 그러와 돈돈 주지를 봐 제바이나 잔이 녀매시是吧？站的念面是属体的，这种属东巴和水的。
Madabing, Madamajibing, Mola, any the Yobache, Nangsamche.
啊，马这西边我能怎么起来说水的？啊，这种等于啊。
Of the 5 aggregates, he actually spells it out with the form aggregate first, which is the first of the 5 aggregates, right? And so he says form is empty and so forth. So connecting it to form, the form aggregate. And so the meaning of this is that from the perspective of a mind which is not analyzing, form exists. So form exists to that mind. And form is a mere appearance to that mind. However, if you really analyze precisely with what we call ultimate analysis, with an ultimate analysis, then you don't find form at all.
我听的，这张别那打，还是说属东巴和水的，别那属水的啊，人给我人给人性我呢，这边站的没关系，是吧？属水的，属可能我呢，早晚你呢出没关系，是吧？我人给我呢出没关系，这张。 啊，属东巴和属可能我呢，特别东巴的，可能我呢，早晚你呢出要把的事，啊。
When it says form is empty, what that means is that form is empty of existing by its own nature or through its own entity. In other words, it does not exist at all from its own, by its own nature and by its own entity.
他都是他的关联嘛，不用到属东巴和水的属水的，让人给打起了点呢，是吧？让人给属水的，让人给打起了点呢，他明当得下巴马到，下怎么起来？下巴马到，明当得马下巴，明当打了马到吧，可能我呢，这个用水也没法的事，就当东巴水的。
So here we can understand form is empty as meaning that form is merely posited by names and convention and does not exist without being posited by names and conventions, doesn't exist at all without depending on names and conventions.
同他的他属谁的，他落了能上去才是，他落了能上去，没给想上去，落了能上的出去嘛都没得吧去，这张他东巴谁的，可能我呢这边东巴的谁，但没把的是个样嘛的，他是吧？我落了能上去的是，可能我呢这边东巴的谁的。
And so what this is saying is that form is a mere appearance to the mind. It's merely posited by names and does not exist at all from its own side. So it's not saying it doesn't exist at all. Rather, what it's saying is it doesn't exist from its own side.
我都是呢，这张打搞不打，是吧？可能我呢没把人家搞不正常了，没谁的属没谁去我的吧，属没谁的可能是了，可能我呢没把属谁的，可能我呢没把的是的属没谁，可是的属没谁的，咱前面没关没把的谁的是个要把的， 속 매세디 속디 속 관랑 원에 자원이는 돼요 말했어. 관랑 원에 매 말했어.
In this this kind of teaching where where it's explaining about how things like form don't exist from their own side, you'll see the statement, form does not exist. There is no form. And that doesn't mean it doesn't exist in general. It doesn't exist at all. It doesn't mean that. So some people think that what it means when these texts say form doesn't exist, they think it means form is not an object of valid cognition. But this is not the case. When it says there's no form, what that means is there's no form existing by its own nature.
어디래 제자다 변한다 취 다틴데 배틴데 자기도 변한 취 나게 다와 취 나게 다외스 다와 나신 다 취 나게 다와디 곧낭 잡시로 봐. 취 나게 다와디 다외스 거기 주는 다와시도 봤다디 가서 와라. 다와를 낭 점지 마도 그 다원 거네 말어 봐. 봐. 다원 거기 원에 버지 주는다 다원 거네 버지 여 말어 봐. 어티낭신 숙세디 로라 낭점지 마도 숙세디 버기 천나 전예매시 다 주인은 게 다와데 천는 예요 말아봐. 어티낭신 답배 근데 숨고들.
This is just like in the case of a moon in water. So that's a mere appearance, right? There is a mere appearance of the moon in water. There's not an actual moon there, is there? So it's a mere appearance. There's a mere appearance of a moon in the water. That's what the meaning of a moon in water is. So in a very similar way, form is a mere appearance. What that means is if you search for it, you won't be able to find it. Just like if you look for the moon in water, you won't be able to find that moon.
어딘데 있었네. 다 돈다 계시셔디 티레 다 가서는 속동바 오스타디 다 수기다 돈담데 베남샤데 순거야래. 아 수기 땡게 돈담데 베남샤 수기 내룩 탑도 순거야래. 속동바 오세디 수기다 락신 탑도 내룩 탑도 돈담데 마세디 속동바 오세디다.
And in this way, when it says form is empty, this is talking about the ultimate truth of form. In other words, form's ultimate nature, its ultimate way of being.
독신이다 제단다 속동바오다 동반이 속소 세디다 가르스나 속 가르스나 속이 내로 다 속라파 가서나 다 속세디 컨데지레스나 다 돈다티레 다 속동바오서 동배랑 신인발라 속세디 다 탄예별 로라 낭점지레스 동반이 속소 세디 다 동배 낭레 속세디 로라 낭점지 여대바시.
Now, then after saying form is empty, it says emptiness is form. So what this means is that, well, so form is empty of existing from its own side. So then, if it's empty of existing from its own side, if it doesn't exist from its own side, then how does it exist? Well, how it does exist is within emptiness, within being empty, it's a mere appearance.
탄예별 로라 탄예별 로이 딱장 탄예별 로이 샥장 속시 차이 속세
So what I mean is, within being empty, form is a mere appearance to a conventional mind.
네.
No.
당성시. 어때래? 제가
Merely imputed by a conventional mind, in other words.
네, 더 던다. 그러나 수기 풍부 세디 다 던다니 가서래. 다 던다 티래. 다건 속동바오 세디 속매바 마셔. 속매바 말했어. 그러봐. 속디 코랑원에 매바랬어. 그래. 다 코랑원에 매바이나 다 매바래서는 매바 말했어. 매신도 동반이 숙소 코랑원의 매신도 다 유해대바시. 그러봐. 단예에 로라 낭잡시 유해대바시 숨고야. 동반이 숙소 세다.
And so regarding the form aggregate, in other words, regarding the form aggregate. So form is empty means form is empty of existing from its own side. It doesn't mean form doesn't exist at all. Form is empty means form is empty of existing from its own side. And then when it goes on to say emptiness is form, what that means is, while being empty, form, in other words, at the same time as being empty, form exists as a mere appearance to a conventional mind.
어떻게 다 제가 다 던다니 동반이 소소 세디 동반이 코랑 소인데 스기요 동배항래 동배랑 신발라 동배항래 소세디 다 로라 낭자 민기 샥점시 외대바시 어디 숨고요.
And what this means is that when it says emptiness is form, it doesn't mean literally that emptiness is form. It means that form, while being empty of existing from its own side, is a mere appearance to a conventional mind.
어떻게 다 다디 증이디 계신거래 동반이 소소 소래 동반이 셔마이노 세디로 다 지기다 동 숙동바오 세디 돈이 처음 남샤 숨고야래 동반이 소소 스도가라 군조 처음 남샤 숨고야 로 텐탐바 메신도 양 텐 동배항래 양 탕야 점도 여대바시 군조 처음 남샤 숨해 어디래.
These two are really very important, because when it says form is empty, this is talking about the subtle emptiness, the subtle presentation or level of emptiness. And then when it says emptiness is form, this is talking about the subtle conventional level, which is that while being empty, form exists as a mere appearance to the mind.
어때래? 다디 가서랬단다. 이제 좀 송나라 때 집안에 검숨 그래 게마 검숨 코르베 쳐스다. 게마스인데 책에다 돈다. 검숨 코르베 쳐 메신 나와 맞설치했습니다. 다 돈다 집안에. 알아. 검숨의 쳐 담제 지점나 소한 집안에 검숨 이 코르베 쳐스다 돈다. 봐. 아니지 요 말했어. 요 말했어. 랑신기 요 말했어. 매버렸어. 코랑 원은 자는 매바시. 진짜지 레드 이나양 야 검송 코르베 최디 낭점도 예대바시. 낭점기 채와치시. 봐. 진짜데 염차버렸다. 맞설치했습니다.
this is just like Milarepa says. There's one thing he said was that he expressed amazement that all of the phenomena of cyclic of the three realms of cyclic existence, though they don't exist, by which of course he meant not like generally don't exist, but don't exist from their own side. So though they don't exist from their own side, they are mere appearances.
Machine now say corona the machine mena now the master say six to you may say it that the show na shin ranshin mena ya ranshin machine to yang nang zam to yet nang zam ge cha che da ro ko ye dong ai na re da nyawa yi da tun zhu da ten tenang ge dong a tam je yang me ba de se ya ba nang zam ge xin cha che to be pen na do to ye 진짜 yue de ba di 양쳐버렸다. 양천 진대주에 대해 순구요. 와서체서.
So he's expressing how amazing it is that all of those phenomena, though they don't exist from their own side, they do exist as mere appearances. And in other words, though they don't exist from their own side, they are still able to perform various activities. So like, for example, there's the suffering of the hell realms, there's the suffering of the pretas, and so he's not saying these don't exist at all. Of course, he's not saying that. He's saying how amazing it is that even though none of their suffering exists from its own side, still it does exist, all exist as a mere appearance to the mind. And so what he's saying is that even though there is nothing which exists from its own side, still as mere appearances, all kinds of benefit and harm can take place and do take place.
가르스나 속디 속에 땡기 동반이다 뭐 타대바 말에 속에 땡기 동반이데 속당 뭐 타대바 말에 다 속당 속에 땡기 돈이 땡기 뭐 치바레스 다 돈다 되게 남셔야 숨겨야래
좀 줄레동 가서다 디니자르베
근데 네가 지금 속 동바고 동반수 술에 동반이 셈마이나 동반이라 저 수셈마이노스 수데 속에 동반이다 뭐 타대바 말에스 수기 등에 동반이지 소당 거 타대와 말했어. 다 소당 수기 등에 뭐 소당 수기 동반이 등에 뭐 집발했어. 또 숨겨야 돼.
Then with the next two statements, emptiness is not other than form, and form is also not other than emptiness. So what these two are saying is that the emptiness is not an entity other than form, and form is not an entity other than emptiness. And so what it's saying is that that emptiness, the emptiness of form and form itself are one entity.
단에 단다 쉐데다 계셔셔들에 단다 먼저 삼라다야라다 시라님보다는 계셔셔지 어디 통고 속동바고 동반이 속소 세들라 다 시라님 뭐 차장 된투나 약보래 디메나야 다 직디니라 다 삼라당치 아니 벨라샤 아다 수년당 취인한게 다와당 다 밀람당 주마당 이 빼먹고도 와 틴데라 자시 다 직니기 단다 속동바 동반이 속소 세들라 아니 오늘 지금 섬로 14부 시당나 봐 섬로 때 땅tum나 편도에 대바시 어디를
I think that these are the main points in the Heart Sutra. Form is empty, emptiness is form. Emptiness is not other than form. Form is also not other than emptiness. Those are the main things. So that means that even, of course, it would be great to recite the whole of the Heart Sutra, but even if you're not able to do that, if you can think about these 4 points, that would be really good. And think about them really carefully and really think deeply about them, thinking about them in connection with various analogies, such as a reflection, like a moon in water, like a dream, and so forth. This would be very useful.
근데 다디 아니 지다 되는다 주나다 소소 강사랑이라 자체 다 속디 찍게 되는 강사라니 다 강로 강사라니 다 강사 동바니 강사오 스네 독신에 다 랑다 자체 랑 동바니 랑오 스다 돈다 랑땡도 자체 공캡도나
And also, it would be really good to connect this to oneself. So then you would be thinking, the person is empty. In other words, you'd be thinking, I am empty. Emptiness is me. Emptiness is not other than me. I'm not other than emptiness. So, thinking about that would be very useful.
Sola Jawa Nangshin, da Pumbo Chima Shia, Soya Pumbo, Dushe, number Shiva, Pumbo Duxin, Re Duxinia, Duxinita, Sola Jawa Nangshin, da Chi, Ani, Soa Tombo, Ani, Tombani, Soa, Duxinita, Pumbo Shi, da Pumbo Chima Shila, Duxin Jane, Omja Namsha, the Sungayarot.
In the sutra itself, it says, in the same way, feeling, discrimination, composition of factors, and consciousness are empty. So this would, what this means is you can also think about how, feeling. So feelings are empty. Emptiness is feeling. Emptiness is not other than feeling. Feeling is also not other than emptiness, and so forth.
독신이다 삼마단게 티레다 삼모시쇼로스니다 솔람도 줄랑에 나갈라 다 삼모시쇼로스 다레 네 tinde게 단에 로베게 남시데 숨고요레 다 츠티 다 디젤라 다 토랑에 나갈라 칸데스 로고 그래서데.
Here, as I mentioned, then this is how one would train in the perfection of wisdom, on the paths of accumulation and of preparation, which means meditating on emptiness by way of these 4 profound points. And then the sutra goes on to talk about how to train in the perfection of wisdom on the path of seeing.
다티 순도가라 number 7 동보 셰리포 데타라 초담제 동반이데 생예매바 아제바 마가바 지마매바 지마당 타와 디와매바 강와매바 보스 다티 버둘라 다 토랑라 로 토랑레 내가로 로당데 숨겨야 돼.
For the path of seeing, so this is where so just after that it says, Shariputra, likewise, all phenomena are emptiness, without characteristic, unproduced, unceased, stainless, not without stain, not deficient, and not fulfilled.
독신에 다 티가라 다 동신에 티레 다 사모 개발 계단데 배고네 다 토랑 양수 공작단지 사모 기주 계단 랍시 어딘데겠다 순시 어디고는 공개하지 숨겨야래 돈은 내가.
What this is saying is that on the path of seeing, the way to train in the profound, in the perfection of wisdom is with the 8 profound features. So this mentions 8 profound features.
독신이 다티 가르스나다 다틴데 다톤다 남들 고숨나 라베시 다톤다 토랑은 내가로 남들 고숨 로와 뭐 동바 남도 고슴로와 뭐 동바 아니 참마 매봐 몸바 매봐 아스네다 진대 남도 고슴 지순 것도 와 어틸다 사모 키주 게된데 남도 고슴 뜨네 다 되시게래
None because the Zamo Kiju
키주 게디 다 남도 고슴 남두도 그러와
and these 8 profound features all summarized into or contained in the 3 doors of liberation. The 3 doors of liberation being the emptiness of entity, then being something about signless and wishless. So we could say the 3 are empty, signless, and wishless.
또 신이 다 돈다니 다 떠나 다 갈라다 다 돈다 소라 잡아이나 빼나 다 거대로 빼나 소라 잡아이나 속 쓰도 갈라 아니 갈사라 보기 뭐 거랑 라시게 동바래 세시 너와 속거랑 다 속디 다 참아 매봤으나 속태다 우디 그 템퍼처가 식래 잡아시 말했다 글라차치 템퍼트 속디 템퍼트 비 글래 잡아 말했어 직도래 아니 속디 속티 템퍼트 비 되우지 지게 말했어 다 템퍼트 왔으나 라시 좀 되우지 게요 말했어 나 속거랑에 때부터 남도 고슴 잡는 독자래
It will simplify things to look at these 3 in connection with form, for example. So what how that would work is so the first of the 3 doors is empty, the door of liberation of emptiness, right? So what that would mean is form is itself empty of true existence, or we could equally say empty of existing by its own nature. So that's talking about the entity of form, or let's say its nature, the nature of form itself, as opposed to its causes and its results. Just itself it's empty. Then when we say it's signless, that means that it doesn't produce, it is not produced from a cause that's truly existent. And then when we say wishless, that means that it does not produce a result that's truly existent.
독신해 다 된자 다 틀라다 거랑 책거랑을 여나 신시 마슈나 티레 사모 체제 게된 세티레 다 당보들라 다 처담제 동반이데 세티레 처담제 동바레스 다 동배랑 시레스 다 동바레 세시도와 티기다 다 남도 고슴잖아 뭐 덴베 동 세티레 뭐랑 신의 동 세티다 디송고야레 당보들이
Of the 8, the first one, like it says in the list, Shariputra, likewise, all phenomena are emptiness. It says all phenomena are emptiness. This is talking about the first of the 3 doors of liberation, which we call, the door of liberation of emptiness. So it's referring to the fact that all phenomena themselves, never mind their causes and the results and so on, they themselves are empty of existing truly or existing by nature.
어때래? 다 되네마 아니지 가서다 참마 매봐. 다 아니 참마 매봐 세티페나 다디만 독서는 쉬고 그도 왔다 강시.
하면 기지개야 그렇지 그래.
어디서나 다도 레레잖아. 다디 차야 갖고 있어래. 다 간다. 다만 또 시안이 좀양 중나양 뜻이 좀 잡혀래. 다다 신이 매봐. 마제봐. 마가봐. 지만 매봐. 지마당 타와 매봐. 말 갖다. 얘기입니다. 신이 매바체 마제바체 마가바 아니 치마 매바세 디버도 페제 다 참마 매바세 자르면로 섬스 또바가 테마스
Mm. Mm.
근데
Then, well, actually, now I'm beginning to wonder whether we're going to be really able to finish in this one session. But anyway, we can always carry on in the future if we don't finish today. So, as I mentioned, when it says all phenomena are emptiness, actually it says ore dombanite are emptiness.
엄마니데 세트게 도사라와
Vale,
다 줄라 잡아이나 다 신이 매바 마제바 마가바 치마 매바세
So that's the first door. Then the second door, which is being signless. So that would what's included there is the next few. In other words, without characteristic, with unproduced, unceased, stainless. So those four come under the what do you call it? Signless. No, sorry. Yeah, signless.
다 치마당 탈와 세더와 치마당 탈와 지와 강화 매바 세디다 그러봐 다 페이지에 다티 네 제부 맘바 매바 신텔 자야지
And then we've got the next one. So not without stain, not deficient, not fulfilled. Jima dan jawa meba, jiwa meba, kawa meba,
강화
right?
매바 오소 독신에 다티 페이지에 다 맘바 매바가 잘야지
Those three are, can be summarized as wishless, the door of liberation, of wishlessness.
독신 다티 페이지에 다 되게다 사모 기주 계den에서 돌아오는 내값도 돈다 남다 고수는 러베게 남샤들 신고요래 또 사모 기주 계den에서 신고요래 그러와 돌아오는 내값도 단 공개해 순간 동반이 공당시
And this is the way of training in the perfection of wisdom on the path of seeing. In other words, by way of these 8 profound features.
다 디네마 안에지 갈선다 공람라 로베 다 통로 롭당 독신이다 다 디네 디자라 공람라 롭당데 스마르 공람라 로베 디라 데니 셰레프 대다면나 동반이라 숙메 다 초아메 디시메 나버 샤바메 미메 나와메 나메 시메 니미 삼등등 춤메도 미지 카메라 니가 이나마시 건지 받은 말이 보면 말이 같이 받으면 뒤에서 동화도 보고 골라니 시도 마토 바양 메도 스타티 바키다 골라나 러베다
Matabayam medos. And then how to practice on the path of meditation is, well, it's the top of page 234 in my book, but anyway, it's let's read it out. It says, Shariputra, therefore, in emptiness, there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no compositional factors, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no visual form, no sound, no odor, no taste, no object of touch, and no phenomenon. There is no I element, and so on, up to and including no mind element and no mental consciousness element. There's no ignorance, no extinction of ignorance, and so on, up to and including no aging and death, and no extinction of aging and death. Similarly, there is no suffering, origination, cessation, and path. There's no exalted wisdom, no attainment, and also no non-attainment up to there.
다 돈다 이 디갑라 다 갈선에 떠나 동반이라 숙메 수도 다 돈다 이 풍봉아 다 갈선다 숙 그래 풍봉가 있는 당부대로 봐 숙메 수도 갈라 아니 숙요 말에 쓰나다 숙메세 가레스가 됐으나 다 숙란 시기네 셀라 국어로 봤다 딜라 고슈고래 다 값도 뭐 관람을 조자티티래 독디 Kolam Nyamshai Shiki, Tunis Simona, so said Yomaresta. Kolam get Tunis Simotella, Rova, Suki Nelus Simotella, Kolam Nyamshaki, T. Korangwana, so Yomares, Simona Sukman says that.
There, when it says in emptiness, there is no form. Another way of putting that actually would be in emptiness, form does not exist. So what that means is for the mind of the person on the path of meditation, meditating on the emptiness of form, form does not exist. So from the perspective of that mind, form does not exist. So what it means is form does not exist. When it says there's no form, it says form does not exist by its own nature.
Okay, that's that Pape Kolan Shashi, Tunis Simotena, that's Suki Nelusi Simotena, Suyamare, that's Suyamare, Subnangiamare, Yamshashi de la Roa, Suki Nelus, La Yamashi, Yamshashi Tiki, Mona Subne, Sutukola Subnangiamare, Karenagasana, Suki Tomanichipu Nangashi, just Simotena, Subne, Subnangamares. 수요 말에 수가 있는 거 말에 스모든 수요 말에 수가 있는 거 말에 수요.
And so this is saying that from the perspective of, or I think we could say simply for the wisdom of meditative equipoise of the path of meditation, which is meditating on the emptiness of form, form doesn't exist, and also form doesn't appear. All that exists for that mind, all that appears to that mind is the emptiness of form.
어떻게 다 속내스다 그냥만 매매라 참마티라잖아요. 또 솔로자와 나신 참마를 매매세디다 냠셔의 승원의 매스니다 참마도 자니 줘야 돼.
There's zingola and the zuki tengi toni years lagira.
수기 돈이 맞아요. 맞대 돈이 수기 돈이 집에 승원나 수요 말아.
Di tengi toni de yora.
돈이 열어. 돈이 맞도 수요 말아. 수나게 말해 어떻게.
Di ngi di ngi lavin that the chisen di do.
다쳐다 매세디다 승원의 매스다 수매 같은 매라에 망부이 도와티네마. 그래서나 고란냠 샤이에 돈이 집에 승원나 수요 말에 셈 참마요 말에 쓰고 승원나.
And it goes on to say no feeling, no discrimination, no constitutional factors, consciousness, and so on. So all of these, when it says that they do not exist, so form does not exist, feeling does not exist, discrimination does not exist, what it means is form, feeling, and so on do not exist from the perspective of the wisdom of meditative equipoise of the path of meditation that's absorbed into and meditating on the emptiness of form, feeling, and so on.
독신이 다 매세대 독신이 자래 디스도 갈라 당고 풍봉알라 자네 다 풍봉아 디스모나 매슬로 디줄라 기지 중이 이 법인념 셰시기 돈이스 쓰고는 매 다가나신 감쪽게라 자체 아니 돈이스 쓰고는 매 감쪽게 되네 아니 다가나신 따텐데 야라 중이 너 군인이 모시고 있던데 야라 중이 남장 쪽에 있던데 야라 중이 디고도와 기야다 승원의 매 어디 숨겨야돼 다가나신 따템바시 세디 아니 템바시야 법인념 셰시 천이스 승원의 야마레스 어떻게 숨겨야돼
In this long list, first of all, we have the 5 aggregates. So one by one, those do not exist from the perspective of the wisdom of meditative equipoise of the path of meditation. Then after that, it goes through the 12 ayatanas, so the 12 sources. The 12 sources, I think we say in English. Then the 18 dhatus or 18 elements. So it goes through those 18. Then likewise the 12 links. So for the 12 links, the 12 links of dependent arising. So there we have the 12 links on the afflicted side and the 12 links on the side of on the pure side. And then after the 12 links, it goes through the 4 truths. None of those, so what it's saying is each one by one, they do not exist from the perspective of the wisdom of meditative equipoise of the path of meditation.
Lamme sotibutre, ta kunjungwa na kopata lamme sitibuti temashirwa, lamme, ta ishime, ta topame, matopaya meto sitita, ishime siti yulche, ta tikangla yula jache, ta yudinzo, tunishibe singona yomades, ngarki yudinzo. 다 유전이 여러 배 스니직리게로와 유전기야 돈이스비 신고는 유전 여 말했어 이시장 돈이스비 신고는 매스다 돈도티래.
For the 3 at the end, first of all, it says there is no exalted wisdom. What that means is that up until now we've been talking about the various objects of that wisdom of meditative equipoise. And now somebody might say, might wonder, well, those objects don't exist for that wisdom of meditative equipoise. But what about the wisdom of meditative equipoise itself? Maybe that exists for that mind, for that meditation. And so this is the answer to that question. It says that also does not exist for the wisdom of meditative equipoise of the path of meditation.
다 터버쳐 choose, 다 톱차 choose, 다 kuila 터버쳐 콜기라 터베 choose 다 콜랑기다 라라냐 모갈풍에 빵바 라라냐 모갈기 디바바에 다 빵바 되는 거와 티응을 여래베서 터바 딜라샤 티여레베 티응을 티에요 말이었어. 다 아니 마토바야 메도 다 마토베 쳐 톱죽이 쳐 다 시대바야 빵 같은 저에 디승원의 여러베서 여 말이었어.
안에 고랑리 예배다 고랑기다
고랑기 토바르차에 쇼스나 고랑이나 고랑기 뭐가라는 뭐도 빵바 여러봐. 고랑기特别저 빵바티니 고랑냠샤 있으면 여러베서 디여 말이었어. 다 고랑기 마토베 쳐 시대바야 빵 같은 저 그 승원의 여러베서나 여 말이었어.
After that, so no exalted wisdom, then no attainment. What that means is that there is the state of having abandoned the mental of what you call it, having abandoned what is to be abandoned by the path of meditation. So, in other words, on the path of meditation, one has that state of abandonment. In other words, the state of having abandoned certain things that need to be abandoned on the path. So that abandonment, or we could say that state of abandonment, also does not exist from the perspective of that wisdom of meditative equipoise, of the path of meditation. And then there are also things which are, so that's what is attained, what is achieved by the path of meditation. Then there's what's not achieved by the path of meditation. In other words, which hasn't been achieved, which is the abandonment of the knowledge obscurations. So what's not been achieved also does not exist from the perspective of that wisdom of meditative equipoise.
단다 고람냠샤 시기 다 소통거 말했어. 단다 돈이는 냠버 샤데어와 냠버 샤데다 소통거 말해. 소통거 말해. 다 과랑기 중에 남시에 대해 통고 말했어. 남을 시작하 소수의 유진 대해 통고 말했다. 그때 송도 이 마통아 다가란 게 통화 탐바랬어. 너 책임다 마통아니 통화 탐바고 그리고 소 마통아 다가랑 다 통화에 약속들했어. 저기 내로 통고요. 그래서 그런 게 통화에 소 통고요 말했어.
So, but form, feeling, and so forth do not exist from the perspective of the wisdom of meditative equipoise, of the path of meditation. Even the meditation itself does not exist from the perspective of that meditation. And so here what is said is not seeing is the best seeing. So that's what that's talking about. There's that expression. So not seeing all those things from the perspective of that mind, not seeing any of those things, that's the best seeing.
다 통화에 약속에 가려 통한다. 수기 내로 탑도 통과하라 그러와. 소 통과야 말때 수기 내로 탑도 통과야 된다. 로티.
다 통화 담바세 디데 코 통화기 율디 아니
동반이라 수기 내로
통화니데 디 담바 임비케셔라.
소랑 시간에 봐 통화서 그렇다. 돈다. 소랑 시간에 봐 통화디 통화 탐바레스 그렇다.
통화 약속을. Yeah. So I did that.
소마 통화체. 다 소라 때도 걸어 소마 통화체 수기 소랑 시간에 봐 통과하라. 소마 통화체 다 소 통과야 돼. 통화 약속이 되려서 그렇다.
Yeah, so it's saying that so not seeing form is the best seeing. Why is it the best seeing? Because by not seeing form, what it is seeing is the emptiness of form. So that's why not seeing, in all those cases, not seeing is the best seeing.
어때? 제가 심정에 놀라 딱 군소위 취진 낭바이나 아니 투나 연구야 다 탄다 로 투에 나와 연구야 로 투나 연구야 니낭게 나와 연구야 군소위 셔 낭수나 심정에 놀라 간데 군소위 전나네 니낭게 나와 연구지 로 투와 차겨 제가 냠샤이 시든저라 군소위 셔 나가 말 간데 지나 딱 군소위 셔 만나지 순구야 제가 냠샤이 시디 모티베 샤바인 타기베 순구야
For a sentient being, if a conventional object appears, then the mind to which that appears is going to have a mistaken appearance. In other words, whenever there's the appearance of a conventional object to a sentient being, it's going to be a mistaken appearance. Whereas even for a sentient being, when they're in meditative equipoise, there's no mistaken appearance. So there's no conventional appearance.
같은데 레샤 같은데 마 그래 다 걸로서 티데 다 디웍들라 같은데 기타 람라 로바이나 다 창자 누그레 세시데 창 그래 창자 누그레 세데 창자 누그레 근데 람라 라바이나 나르게 람진데 라바이나 다 창자 누그레 세디 셰르부 대다외나 전주 서반은 토반 내비셔 셔라게 바로도 심발라 땡시 내대 쓰다.
대바도
혹시 어디 땡시 내대 딜라다 나르게 람딜라 도스 로바이나 다 창자 누그레 세시래.
Then after that, it says Shariputra. Shariputra, because there is no attainment, bodhisattvas rely on and dwell in the perfection of wisdom. So this, what this is saying, that by practicing in that way, then the bodhisattva would realize that they have the ability to achieve enlightenment. Gomlan Tomne and the Sangye
Sangye Nugre said.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so by practicing in that way, the Bodhisattva will see that they are able to achieve enlightenment.
다 Sangye 당의 숨을 띄워라. semla 기과면이 따보면 신제로는 신도 양알에 때문에 탈친도 세디 다 상자수디 Sangye 당의 숨을 semla 기과면이 따보면도 신제로는 신도 때문에 양알에 때문에 탈친도 다.
Tajindos. After that, it goes on to say, then where are we? Perfection of wisdom. The mind without obscuration and without fear, having completely passed beyond error, they reach the end point of nirvana. Yeah, I think it finishes there. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. They reach the end point of nirvana. So that passage explains how the Bodhisattva achieves enlightenment.
Sangha 탐제장 시진들라 라면 상자바레 스텔라 말라베 상징에지 요마레스다 돈도 지수비아레.
When Avalokiteshvara goes on to say, all the Buddhas who dwell in the three times also manifestly completely awaken to unsurpassable, perfect, complete enlightenment in reliance on the perfection of wisdom. What this means is that all of the Buddhas of the past have achieved, of the present do achieve, in the future will achieve enlightenment, depending upon the practice of the perfection of wisdom, and there's not a single one that has or is or will achieve it without depending on the practice of the perfection of wisdom.
No,
Okay, so anyway, so all the Buddhas who dwell in three times also manifestly completely awaken to unsurpassable, perfect, complete enlightenment in reliance on the perfection of wisdom, I think is a good point at which we can stop the teaching. Everybody enlightened, I think we're not going to be able to finish it. Yes, so there's some explanation that needs to we need to cover with this mantra below, so we're not going to be able to finish it in the time allocated. So I think it would be good to stop there, and I hope it will be okay for me to finish the explanation next time we meet.
Tindrisha, that Trishwana Shere, that Sharing Monolata, Trishwana, Cheshodi, the Sutomba Seta, Tomba Soso Setila, and it's some Tantuna, Yakuya.
As I mentioned, the most important thing is this statement that form is empty, emptiness is form, and so on. So this would be really good to think about.
That's also Kondo Tapolambe Kabla, over Kondo Tapolanga Rani Yang, Tomba Imachi. And it Kondo Sasa Yudia, Tomba Imachi, Koran is an Metimachi. Lola Nang Samson, Koran Metas, Rani Yang, Lola Nang Samson, Langa said the Nang Samson, when it's the Shimon is on the Tumachi. Tinde Samotana. 공도 있나래, 자바 있나래, 또 누가 총을 줘야 자바 이것이 어때?
And if you meditate like that, for example, when you're when you're feeling a bit angry, then if you can think about how I, the one who am getting angry, am empty of existing from my own side. The person or the thing that I'm angry with also doesn't exist from their own side. They are all mere appearances. I am also a mere appearance. And thinking in this way, then this will, whether we apply it to anger or attachment anyway, the power of that of those destructive minds, they will be reduced.
어딘데 어딘데 돌아다는 좋다. 그래, 다 준도 좋을 때그 삼아 땅트나 야부여래. 그와 땅은 저 싫어하는 뭐지 아니다. 반다이다. 이 뭐지 되게 더 책임있는 거 되시. 다 준도 삼아 땅트나 아니 편도야 같아.
And I think that, if we constantly reflect on the meaning of these words in the Heart Sutra, then we'll really find it quite useful.
어디를 빨리 쉬어야 책대 집어를 돈다. 다 이제 매일 책대 야부여래. 야뭐 감송 거를 취스. 메신 나와 마찰체 어떻게다. 뒤터나 삼았다. 어떤다 집어를 어디를.
And also think about those words of Milarepa, where he expressed his amazement at how all of the phenomena of the three realms of cyclic existence are non-existent, and yet are able to exist as mere appearances. So the meaning of that is exactly the same as these four statements. And it's also very useful to think about.
어래 당한저 쭉 컨디션에 되게 거랑문에 메타가시. 너. 거랑문에 잔에 메타가시. 당한저 거랑문에 여기서 신기도 와. 당한저 뭐 투대가 됐을 거. 거랑문에 잔에 메타가시. 먼저 딱 근데 신기도 와. 거랑문에 여기서. 제가 좀 전에 거랑문에 잔에 여 말했어. 다들 못 듣고 거예요. 먼저 거랑문에 여기서 신기도 와. 고랑원에 여 말했어. 나 고랑원에 매발았다. 리빠서 뭐 당시 고랑원에 매발아 고아 착세. 있으면 담고도 어디래.
So none of these things exist from their own side. Nothing at all exists from its own side. And yet how they appear is as if they exist from their own side. And we have that kind of belief that things do exist as they appear. And so the Buddha teaches here, things don't exist from their own side in the way that they appear. And to be able to get that kind of understanding, we need to use a lot of reasoning.
딱 이제 그 아니 배삼로 땅 딘데게 터네. 딱 고랑원에 추면도 세라다. 오늘 지다 고안이야 고야 어디래.
We need to apply a lot of reasoning. We need to use various analogies and gradually come to the understanding things don't exist as they appear.
그러와 딱 고랑원에 매바지 통에도 갈라. 하고 공도이나 또 차이나 또 누가 충충차시. 고랑원에 매바지 원해지. 고약부 샤바이나 공도 도착 같은 조다 용으로 들어야지. 누가 충으로 들어야지 거야. 어디래.
And by understanding this, as our understanding increases, then the power of anger and grasping attachment, their power will gradually diminish.
당도 공도 땅다 차바지에 고랑원에 또 고랑원에 여보시나 고랑원에 또 신다 신자 수심부시 견신의 용대시래.
So these, this kind of like grasping at an I existing from its own side, usually, it arises very strongly, doesn't it? 나도 좀 와서.
나 그래서 되게 다 건서 다 당신.
양주 쏜다.
어,
노래는.
내가 심때 맞어. 당한저 따점이도 당한저 변하다. 먼저 착바제 공도제디 거를 투도스나 먼저 시도다 코랑원에 여바시나 코랑원에 여바시 된지. 너 될라 투대도 봐. 너 어디 신 거야?
What I'm trying to say is that the fact that attachment and anger arise so strongly within us is really, you know, what it comes down to is everything appears to exist from its own side. And then we have that really strong sense of things existing from their own side as they appear. That's what it comes down to.
네, 소소로라 낭점 이바시 과 샤바이나 아니 메다 슝해 셔티레 와라만에 메바 로라 낭점 랑에 로 낭점 이바시 과야 보 샤바이나 공동가만한 신부이고 말아와 거티레.
And it really makes a difference when you're able to understand that actually everything is a mere appearance to my mind and nothing exists from its own side. That really changes things. That really, you know, makes those mental afflictions, you know, lose their power.
밀람라 밀람에 내가서다 신나 진나 남다시 계시다 밀람 내가 원내버 두신 신시 진나 남다시 계시 진대 용어도 야 니체도 가라 어디 랑게 로토라 낭점지에서도 지바랑 신시도 봐 어디 지나신래.
It's just like waking up from a dream. So in a dream, you know, you might dream of something really quite frightening, but then when you wake up and you realize it was just a dream, then quite naturally the fear subsides, doesn't it?
어딘데로시 그래 어떤 데 용해시다래 어디래 너
So I think it's like that anyway.
Okay, I think stop, huh? Others. Okay, we'll continue next time. Huh? Yeah. I can do short dedication, huh?
Long life supplication in Rinpoche. You display exceptional compassion for living beings of this degenerate age, who all the conquerors of the 10 directions and their children cannot subdue, including greatly confused beings himself. Learned, virtuous, and disciplined, you guide me according to my needs. You are kinder than all the conquerors of the 10 directions. O holy, virtuous friend, please live long. I beseech you, please bless and continue. You spread Onlus teachings without tarnishing them, and uphold and propagate the teachings of Jangam Lama, the second conqueror, which are like refined gold. O supreme, peerless, virtuous friend, I beseech you to live long. Please grant your blessings. We hear these teachings, reflect on them, and meditate. The kindness you show us is as immeasurable as space. O holy, virtuous friend, please live long. I beseech you, please bless my continue. By revealing nakedly the excellent middle path free from the two extremes, in which one penetrates reality and emptiness by realizing dependent arising, and comprehends infallible cause and effect by realizing how things exist. You are kindly freely from the ocean of suffering of beginning the cycle of existence. O inconceivable, virtuous, spiritual friends, may you live a long life, may your wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. From now on in all my lives, instead of placing my innermost hope elsewhere, I will devote myself to you, my virtuous friend. Look upon me with compassion and be my guide on the path. For as empty suffering, living beings pursue the causes of suffering. For longing for happiness, they destroy the cause of happiness as if they were enemies. Having created only negative actions, they will be led to lower rebirths in the future. Please grant your blessings that by seeing how the pleasures of psychic existence are akin to a fiery pit, I may swiftly generate love, compassion, and the supreme mind of enlightenment, and finally realizing the final hope of reality. By entering the gateway of the unsurpassed Vajrayana, the supreme holy vehicle of the rare Buddhas, might complete the yogas of the two profound stages and swiftly attain the state of the three bodies. Prayer for the swift return of the Lama Zopa Rinpoche. Fearless teacher and assembly of the children of victorious one, Shavakas and Pratika brothers, victorious Lords and father and sons, along with the lineage masters, all the objects of refuge of infinite bounds, please bestow the virtue and goodness of accomplishing this prayer here and now. Holding and spreading the most precious complete teachings through explanation and practice, you are the armor of patience that is never discouraged. Incomparable, venerable Guru, to you I make requests. While striving a single point of view for the sake of victorious one's teachings, the sole gateway for which will benefit and happiness emerge and from other living beings, you suddenly departed to peace for the great loss. Nevertheless, through the undeceiving truth of the blessing of the oceans and three jewels, and the great ways of bodhicitta of the children of victorious ones, may the smile of reincarnation swiftly beam in glory of our fortunate disciples.
Yari Rawe Kowe Shingandir Anam Deva Matu Chomene Jemen Deva Tenzin Yasori Shabe Site Pratu Tenyo Shri Ranjo Shenjo Rinpoche Age Banange Shri Yevan Yavan Mekaya Goni Gondu Mekwa.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much. See you soon.
Okay. Thank you, Steve, also.
You're welcome.
Thank you to Steve, to Siliana.
See you soon, everyone.
Thank you. Bye bye. Bye bye to everyone.